Okay, this is Ahmed Wariki, but you can call me Slorix. It's been a while, but we got both. Reviewed both, used both for a while. I actually have the reviews a while ago on my Arabic channel. Didn't get the chance to put it here on the English channel, so sorry for that. Anyways, let's get to the review right away. What I got here is the S7 and S7 Edge. The offerings, flagship offerings from Samsung this year. I was already there at Barcelona, got my hands on devices when they were first announced, and they were pretty awesome. I was like, okay, they're refined. They're not totally overhauled new looks, obviously, but when you feel them in the hand, you realize what they actually refined. They took some tips from the already amazing design of the Samsung Galaxy Note 5, where the back is actually curved and it feels much better in the hand. Now, this is ergonomic as well on both phones. You feel it more with the Samsung Galaxy S7 flat version, but you still feel it with the S7 Edge. So with the S7 Edge this time around, we get a bigger screen. That's the main difference. On the S6 and the S6 Edge, they shared the same screen. However, one of them was dual edge display, obviously, and the other one was flat. Now here we got the same 5.1-inch display that we saw on the Samsung Galaxy S6 that came out last year. Here we have a 5.5-inch, which is a bump up from the 5.1 we saw on the S6 last year. However, it's still smaller than the Galaxy S6 Edge Plus that we saw towards the end of last year. I believe they hit the sweet spot with the dual edge displays. Why? It is more comfortable to hold in the hand. The phone is somewhat smaller than the S6 Edge Plus, and it of course is bigger from the Samsung Galaxy S7. So they've hit the sweet spot on where you can actually use the functions of the Edge screen. Because the phone has a 5.5-inch screen, they didn't need to make it that big. The chassis is actually pretty small. You don't feel like the phone is actually that big at all. And because they have the same ergonomic feel on the back where it's chamfered edges and the curves on the back with the glass, of course, Gorilla Glass 4 with turtle glass, so you can avoid fingerprints, but they're still there. The phone feels amazing, superb in the hand. I really believe that the next generation of the Samsung Edge series phone will probably be all the way around, and that will make it more slippery, but really, really nice to look at. Other than that, there's obviously a bigger battery here as well. There's a 3600 milliamp hour battery compared to the 3000 milliamp hour on the Samsung Galaxy S7. Obviously, those are actually bump up for the battery specs that we had on the Samsung Galaxy S6 and the S6 Edge last year, which were horrendous. They were terrible. They were really, really bad. But for them to actually have bigger batteries, Samsung sacrificed the thickness. And I really appreciate, hats off to you, Samsung, for making the decision to actually make the phones thicker and the sacrifice of actually making bigger batteries. So hats off to you, Samsung, and hope to see all other companies actually go that way, in that direction. Add 0.2 millimeters where I'm not going to feel them, but it's going to make a bigger battery where I need it, and then I'm going to feel that the phone is actually performing better. Other changes include the camera. We got a 12 megapixel sensor right now, a little bit less than the one that came on the S6 and the S6 Edge. However, it comes with dual pixel technology. This means that the autofocus is instantaneous, and honest to God, I haven't found any other phone that I've used that actually focuses as fast as those two phones. So those are pretty good, awesome phones for autofocusing and really, really sharp images. It comes with a 1.7 aperture, which is bigger than the 1.9 that was on them last year, which lets in more light. And it has 1.44 micron pixels, which enhances altogether 95% for brightness on both cameras. Now on the front cameras, we still have the same 5 megapixel sensors. However, with 1.7 aperture, I haven't really noticed that much of a difference from the ones last year, so they're still pretty good shooters. Two things Samsung brought back with the Samsung Galaxy S7. They brought back the expandable memory, and that's a welcome addition. Now you get, depending on the region where you're at, you're probably gonna have a dual SIM phone or a SIM card and a memory card. Depends if you don't want to use the memory card, you can go with a 32 gigabytes or a 64 gigabyte configuration and use dual SIM cards. Or if you're in different regions where you actually get only one SIM card and expandable memory up to 128 gigabytes, of course. So it's either or, depending on where you're at least they brought back the expandable memory. So that's pretty cool. Another thing they brought back is the IP68 certification. Both phones are IP68 certified, which means that they are water resistant and dust resistant up to 1 meter for 30 minutes. So that's pretty cool. And you can see that the phones are not even sealed from the bottom or the top or anything. So that's pretty cool to have phones that look this good, feel this great, and still have IP68 certification. The processor is obviously going to change. It's going to be either two chipsets depending on the region again. You either get the Snapdragon 820, which is the new quad-core processor that comes with a 64-bit, true 64-bit processing and 4 gigs of RAM DDR4, which is blazing fast. Or you get the Exynos 8890, which is an octa-core 64-bit processor, and again, 4 gigs of RAM DDR4. So depending on the region that you're at, you're gonna get still decent performance from either of them. I have the Exynos variants right now, so I really didn't use the Snapdragon ones, but I can assume that they perform somewhat the same. you're not going to really notice. Daily average user, you're not really going to notice the difference unless you put them to tests, and those tests are not really realistic tests, and you're not going to notice the difference. Fingerprint scanner is still here. The same resolution on the screens, Quad HD, 5.5 again, 5.1. You get more pixel density here, but you get a bigger screen here. So depending on where you want to go. So at the end of the day, which one should you go for? Which one should you get? They both are solid performers, and the operating system on those phones out of the box is going to be Android 6.0.1 Marshmallow with TouchWiz. I wish I can say that TouchWiz is better, but it's not. It's exactly the same, and God knows how long it's going to take him to update it, since we just saw recently the update on the Samsung Galaxy Note 5 and the S6 that they got the Marshmallow update. So God knows when the Android N comes out, how long it'll take before it comes out on the S7, on the S7 Edge, or on the Note 6 for that matter. But I wish that they make it a little bit slimmer so you can get the updates faster and performs even better. So at the end of the day, it's your decision. Do you want a phone with a bigger screen and a bigger battery? Or do you want a phone that's compact in size, just as good of a battery, just as good of a screen? At the end of the day, choice is yours. This was the Samsung Galaxy S7 and the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge review. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.